What's up again, guys? It's Tim from Everyday Tactical Vids. Today we're looking at a fire starter option. As you can tell, this is obviously from Coleman. You've got your Magnesium and Ferrocerium, or Ferrocerium, depending on how you pronounce it, fire starter kit. This silver piece here, this says Coleman China. That is the Magnesium, and then up here you have your Ferrocerium up top, which is, your ferro rod essentially. And you're going to scrape off the Magnesium and then use this to get your spark and get that guy going. Now the whole kit comes like this, with this little chain that runs through that hole and that hole, obviously to keep the whole thing together. It's going to run you probably between $8 and $15 depending on where you get it. And this over here is your striker, and the chain, like I said, runs through that hole to keep them together. And then you can see you got those little teeth there. I've been out there using it in a variety of different settings. I wanted to get a really good feel for it before I did the review here at home. I'll show you how it works, and then I'll talk about some of the pluses and minuses. Alright, so you're in a survival situation. You need to get your fire started. Basically, you take the two pieces here. You take them, you separate the chain, and then you take them apart. And what you're going to want to do is scrape this guy until you get some magnesium shavings in a pile. Now, part of the challenge of that is the first time I tried to do this, it was outside, and if you have any wind, this doesn't come off in huge pieces from this guy, so you're getting these tiny little scrapings. You really got to kind of create, a safe area so that the wind doesn't blow it everywhere. But I'll show you what it looks like to get some of the scrapings off first, and then we'll show you what it looks like to actually get them started. So, it's weird, but I've actually found that scraping up is more productive than scraping down. So you want to be careful, because even though this thing isn't a super, it's not a super sharp blade, you really can hack yourself up pretty good if you aren't careful. So you want to get that good angle so you're really getting some shavings going on there. And let me do this for another 10-15 seconds. I'll show you what it looks like. It does take some work. You got to put a little muscle into it. And again, be careful, don't gash your hands open in the process. But let me scrape some of these together just so you can see what a tiny little pile looks like. And I'll zoom in for you there. So that's what a tiny little pile of them looks like. Now I'm going to get, probably 5 times as much as that to get this guy going. But just want to give you a sense of how it works. Now this piece of magnesium, you really got to work to scrape that thing. So it's not going to just come off in big chunks, big flakes. But I have seen some reviews of this guy that, people said, well, it doesn't really light. But if you get enough of the magnesium into a pile, it definitely will light. So let me scrape a little bit more, get a bigger pile, and then we'll show you what the lighting process looks like. Alright, here's my pile of magnesium. I wouldn't call it shavings. I really call it more like magnesium dust, or I don't even know exactly. It's definitely not shavings. It's not long strips, but just to give you a sense of, size. There's my thumbnail, and here's your pile. You can also see I've done this on some slate. I'd recommend you do it on some sort of stone where you can collect it to get that started. Now, I'll pull back a little bit and show you how the fire gets started, but I would also recommend, absolutely in any fire situation, have your entire thing, your entire fire prepared and ready to go. So as soon as you get your your tinder going, boom, stick it in the fire and it gets rocking. So let me pull this camera back and then we'll get this guy started. Once I get the magnesium going, I'll just put the edge of this piece of paper in that to show you that it really is, you're able to start a fire with it. A couple other things to note is that I really have beat this guy up significantly, so it's going to take a bit more work to get the spark going. And then the other thing is that some people say, you should put this right down in and strike it right in. I find that because this is more, magnesium dust, that when you do that, you end up spreading this stuff all over the place. So I try to kind of drop the spark down into the magnesium like that. So, like I said, keep your tinder or whatever it is nice and close so you can get that guy going as soon as your magnesium takes off. So let's give this guy a shot here. Once in a while I just spin this guy around because the teeth start to get dull. That gets going. And there you go, real fire. As you can see, this guy does work. We got that fire going. Would I recommend it? There's pluses and minuses. It definitely works. It definitely got that fire started, and the magnesium can be shaved off, and that'll get you, moving in the right direction when you want to get your fire going. On the downside, it is quite a bit of work to get the magnesium off. If you have a lot of wind, it's going to start blowing away. And there are lots of different fire starting options out there. So, if I had a book of matches, would I go to that first? Absolutely, much easier than any kind of fire starter like this. However, if I didn't have anything else, this guy definitely does work. I was using a ferro rod actually earlier today and found that some good cedar bark, dry cedar bark, just took off for me as I was practicing. So tons of different ways to get a fire started. This guy definitely has its function, its role in the fire starting world, I guess you could say. But as you saw, there are some downsides to it as well. So the key thing I would say for any fire starting technique is get familiar with it. Don't think, oh yeah, I've got a fire starter. I've got this Coleman, magnesium and ferro rod, piece of cake, I'm good to go. No, you got to get out there, try it in a variety of different environments to make sure you're really, really comfortable with it. So as always, guys, thanks for watching the vid. Like this video, subscribe, and check us out on Facebook, and we'll get more videos out for you soon. Take care.